everybody had gone either to a concert or to a hootenanny. We used to do that back then, or somewhere, and we were all gone for like 2 hours. We came back to the dorm, and we knew right off there was something wrong because everything looked disheveled, and furniture was in the hallways and stuff. Well, this is what happened. We never found out who did it, but on one floor, they took the mattresses off the beds and put all the mattresses from that floor into one of the bathrooms on the floor. So all the mattresses. Then they took the bed frames from all those beds and put them in another bathroom on top of the stalls where the toilets were. Then they went from room to room and took everybody's shoes and put them all in one closet. That's a lot of girls and a lot of shoes. It took us hours and hours to find our shoes.
That is the most hilarious.
And then the other thing that was amazing is they found everybody's umbrella, opened everybody's umbrella in one of the bathrooms. It was full of like 70 umbrellas. And I mean, it was total disaster. And then they took our bras, put all of our bras in one room, in one dresser, took all our underwear, all of it, and put them in another dresser drawer. I mean, so this was a major task. It had to be guys because of putting things up high. Yeah. So, but we always suspected it was the Sutton girls who did it. No. They say no, they wouldn't have done it, but there was a little rivalry going along, you know, with it, and we thought, who in the world would have done this? But we were right upset about it, and it was right funny. Now it seems funny, but back then it wasn't very funny. So that's my tale about Milligan. That I'll never forget it, and the girls that were in the dorm will never forget it. It was a big mess.
Wasn't too long before finals, but one night at Hardin Hall, just on the spur of the moment, within 5 minutes, it was completely organized. Everybody grabbed their waste baskets, and we all. This was about 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. The girls, of course, had to be in at 10:30. So a lot of them were in bed. It may have been more like 12:30. But we charged across through where the tennis courts used to be, over to Pardee Hall, and there was a pond in front of Pardee Hall, a small fish pond, had water in it, and we filled those waste baskets with water and went around to the back side. And a lot of the rooms on the first floor were just right at chest level, and the windows were open because it was hot. And everybody at the same time just tossed all that water inside the rooms and soaked those beds. And then we a lot of screaming and everything, and ran off. And it was a good thing it was good weather, because the next day there were mattresses out on the back area getting dry. And some of those mattresses were out there for days.
Back when we used to play East Tennessee State College, it was college at that time. Of course, now it's East Tennessee State University. But in order to drum up a little excitement before the annual basketball game, there were several people in Pardee Hall that decided to go over to the campus at East Tennessee State. And we took some white gas and some matches and burned a big emblem on the lawn. And we thought that was pretty cool. Except the next evening, they decided to return the favor. And they came over to Pardee Hall. We weren't sure what was going to happen. The entire Pardee Hall turned out on the steps, and we were led by our fearless leader, Coach Gordon. So it was a fun thing. There was no intent of hurting anybody. It was just one of those fun things we did. There was a place in Johnson City called the Lucky Grill. And we used to congregate there after going to a movie or whatever, late in the evening, 9, 10 o'clock or whatever, get burgers. So we came in, and they had two people two guys in there that ran the place, Red and Fred. And they had the best burgers and French fries in the world. And if there were 5 or 6 of us going in there, we all ordered the same thing. You order a hamburger, fries, and Coke. And you get ready to pay out, there were never any checks, no plug. And you go to the cashier, and Fred would come up and he'd scratch his head and think a little bit. He'd say, well, what'd you have? He said, well, we had a hamburger, French fries, and a Coke. I said, well, that'd be 50 cents. The next guy goes up to pay his bill, and Fred says, well, what'd you have? He said, well, they had a hamburger and French fries and a Coke. And he scratched his head. He said, well, that'd be 65 cents. But the story about it was, if there were 6 of you, you never paid the same thing. And sometimes they would just give it to you. You say, well, you don't know it's anything near the fried thing. So it was just a fun place. It's not there anymore, to my knowledge. Of course, that's been 50 years ago. So it would be more than 50 cents today.